Hello friends, how's it going? It's me, Betty Jean. Today's video is another ranking. I'm gonna be ranking all of my Lethal Cosmetics palettes. Since I got 2 new ones recently, I figured now was a good time to do a little ranking. I have 8 palettes from the brand, and let me just tell you, this was probably the toughest ranking I've done so far with my brands because literally every single one of these palettes I could justify putting in the top like 4. But something had to be number 8, and that was painful to pick something to be number 8. And I want to stress early on, just because some things have to be in the bottom because there has to be an order, it does not mean I dislike any of these palettes. I actually already filmed my palette declutter. All of these palettes survived by a long shot. I love all 8 of these deeply. I just had to rank them. I had to put them in an order from favorite to least favorite. And even though something is technically my least favorite from the brand, I love it. I love it so much. So I just wanted to clear that out of the way because usually in these rankings, I do struggle a little bit just picking an order, but sometimes I have a good reason why I put something in the bottom. In this case, I really don't even have a good reason. Everything else just kind of took priority by a little bit. So yeah, we're gonna get into this ranking. Before we hop into it though, I did of course film this look. It should already be up on my Instagram and TikTok by the time this video goes up. And as far as my accessories today go, these earrings are from Shop Sun & Co on Etsy. I don't know where this choker's from, and this is just a Neff brand beanie. So yeah, without further ado, let's just hop in and rank my Lethal palettes. I love Lethal Cosmetics. I got some singles from them for the first time, I think like 3 or 4 years ago, and I really adore them. I got gifted a couple palettes, I think 2 years ago, back in 2020, and I love them even more. I purchased the Night Flower myself. It got lost in the mail, and then it arrived to me anyways, and then they started sending me PR, which is very cool. So I've tried a plethora of palettes from them at this point, and I'm just really excited to chat about all of these, rank them, chat about my absolute favorites and stuff like that. Okay, let's rip the Band-Aid off. Number 8, I have to preface again, I do not dislike this palette by any means. Something had to be in the bottom, and this was a really tough decision, but I ended up giving it to the Metropolis palette. This is one of their newer palettes. I'm actually wearing it right this second, and again, I love this palette. It is beautiful, it's amazing, I adore it. I've done videos with all of these palettes, by the way, whether it be on YouTube and or Instagram and TikTok, so you can go check those videos out if you're interested. The only reason I put this one as number 8 and ended up deciding on this one is just because this is a very warm, heavy palette. And if you know me at all, warm tones aren't what I gravitate towards the most. I do prefer brighter colors and cooler tones overall, but I still love this palette. Even today I did something a little more olivey focused, but because it is very warm focused, that's the only reason I put it in the bottom. It's probably just the least likely thing I would reach for if I had to pick something. But again, I don't dislike this palette. The shimmers in here are immaculate. I love their matte formula. It's so blendable and easy to work with. This was painful to put this here, but this one ended up being my number 8 spot. And the next one, again, do not get mad at me for putting this in number 7. I really thought both of the next 2 palettes were gonna be in the top 5 easily. But when there's only 8 slots and all 8 palettes are wonderful, I had to get so, not even nitpicky because I didn't have things to nitpick, but I just had to really go with my gut on the things that I love the most. So even though these next 2 are also a little bit lower on the list, I absolutely adore these palettes. I know this is gonna get annoying me saying this again and again, but I don't want anyone getting mad at me because I love all of these. Number 7 is the Lethal is Dead palette in collaboration with Teresa is Dead. And again, do not come for me. I love Teresa with my whole heart. I'm obsessed with this collab from her. It's the first collab she did with Lethal, and it is amazing. It is wonderful. It is so good. The only reason this one is number 7 is just because either some of the palettes going forward have shimmers that scream to my soul a little bit more, because there are only 3 shimmers in here and they are beautiful shimmers, but some of the other shimmers and some of the other palettes do scream at my soul a little bit more. Or in some cases, some of them I just have more of a bond with, I guess. Like I have some of my older palettes from them that I hold very near and dear to my heart, so they couldn't get replaced. But again, I love this one with my whole heart. I'm so happy for Teresa. This is such a cool palette. I've loved playing with it. I love the theming, kind of an homage to old school horror, and it makes me really happy. This is a wonderful palette. And number 6, again, do not come for me, but it's gonna be Teresa's other collab. The Teresa is Lethal. I love this packaging, this cool alien wonderfulness. The inside looks like this. It is so cute. I do vibe with this color story just a hair more than her first collab, and the shimmers in here are even better than her first collab. This silver is so incredibly wet looking. It is such a good silver metallic. Again, the only reason this one didn't get ranked higher, and I really thought it was going to, is just because the next 5 either have shimmers that scream to my soul, or I just hold it very close to my heart. But again, I love this palette. Teresa knocked it out of the park with both of her collabs. I could not be more thrilled for her. This is absolutely fantastic. This is such a tough ranking. This is by far the hardest one I've ever done. This was painful because I love them all so much. I literally could have justified all of these being like number 1. Moving on to number 5, we have the 1UP palette. This is such a cool one. I actually, though, almost demoted this one a little bit lower just because the packaging is a little impractical for me. I wish it was just like a square or a rectangle like the other palettes, but I do love the insides dearly. It looks like this, so insanely bright and colorful. I love bright makeup. I love bright colors. Contrary to what I look like today, I either go super grungy, like swampy, or I want something super bright like this. And the shimmers in here are outstanding. That's the only reason this one beat out the previous 3, is just because the mixture of bright colors and these crazy wonderful shimmers make my heart so thrilled. I love this. I've had such a blast playing with this one. I've absolutely adored having this one in my collection. I'm happy that it exists. They actually just made these 2, I believe, singles. So if you're interested in a very vibrant yellow and green, you can go get those. But yeah, I love this palette. I think it is so cool. I knew I wasn't gonna rank this one any higher though, because even though I do love the insides, it's not like my number 1 from them. But the top four, they're good ones. Number 4, moving on to the top half, it is my After Dark palette. This was one of the first like actual palettes from them I got. I got it as a gift, and I'm still so thankful for this because I really wanted this palette, but never got around to getting it for myself. So I've had this one kicking around for a couple years now. I've always loved the looks I've created with this one. I actually want to bust this one out again soon because it's been a hot minute since I've played with it. The shimmers are so pretty in here. And again, I love the colors. I love that they're pretty bright, but also a little on the muted grungy side simultaneously. I don't know. I always thought this was a really fun and cool color story, and I'm really happy to have it in my life. I couldn't really rank it any higher just because the next 3 I do vibe with a little bit more, but this one I absolutely adore, and I knew I had to rank it fairly highly just because I've loved it for years, literally a couple years now. I think I got it at the very tail end of 2020, so 2 years or so, but I do love this one. I think it's wonderful. Moving on now to number 3 is the other palette that I got at the same time as this one as a gift. And again, so thankful, so grateful. Thank you, Gigi, so much. I love this. This is the After Dark palette, and it is so wonderful. Colorful, grungy goodness. I love the mixture of the dark, grungy, moody tones with the pops of brighter color in the mix. Again, these shimmers are really, really pretty, and I vibe with these tones so, so much. I think this is such a cool palette and pretty unique to my collection. I don't really have anything else quite like this. I think this is such a good one. I've loved this palette as well the last 2 years. I want to play with this one again soon as well. I'm gonna try to make that a mission next year to like really focus on using some of my older palettes again and giving them like another run, especially after recently doing my palette declutter. I feel really inspired to play with my old stuff, and I'm really hoping I can stick to that. I'm gonna try to like make it a plan on my filming schedule. So just stay tuned for that. I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, this is a fantastic palette. It's wonderful. I've loved it. But the next 2 that came out this year really stole the show for me, and I had to rank them highly. Next up, number 2. This is the Evergreen palette. This one launched at the same time as the Metamorphosis, so super recently. This is a very new palette, and it is just so good. I love it. This yellow and green are that bright yellow and green that are in the 1UP palette, but you can get them as singles. All of these in this palette you can get as singles, I believe. Same with the Metamorphosis, if I'm not mistaken. But the shimmers in here are so good. They are so shifty and beautiful. And again, we have a mixture of these grungy, dark colors with the bright colors, and that just, it's a perfect combination for me. Give me dark grungy with bright colors and I'm a happy camper. This is such a cool palette. I think it's so fun to play with. I feel really inspired when I use it. I almost ranked this one as number 1 actually, but I ended up giving the #1 slot to something else just because I've really been impressed with that one, but this one did make it close. This was a really close call, but I'm thrilled with this one. I think this is such a fun palette to play with. And moving on to #1, drum roll please. I'm giving it to my Night Flower palette. I think it's called the Night Flower. Ooh, I hope I'm saying that right. Let me Google it. The name isn't written on that one, and sometimes I don't memorize all the names of all the things. It is the Night Flower. I was correct. I am proud of myself. But it looks like this, and it's so beautiful. I love purples, I love blues, I love the combination of the two, and this one makes me really, really happy. I like that we have the different tones of purple. We have some that are more violety bluey leaning, and some that are a little more like pinky berry leaning. It's so cool. These shimmers are so gorgeous. They have beautiful shifts on the eyes. Again, the mattes all blend out so, so beautifully. And this one was just such a whirlwind to get because again, this is the palette that I did order myself. Well, I thought it got lost because the tracking just stopped moving. I reached out to the brand and said, hey, just check in on the status of this because it keeps saying it's gonna get delivered and keeps getting pushed back day by day by day by day. And they were like, unfortunately, your palette just somehow didn't get shipped out. We're so sorry. We're out of palettes right now. We can either refund you or let you get it when the next restock happens. I think it was a couple months away. And I opted just for the refund just because unfortunately in YouTube world, usually if you don't jump on things fast, it's kind of obsolete. So I was like, I'll just take the L, get the refund, not a big deal. But then it ended up magically showing up like a month or two later. And it was the original one because that package had been through it. It was beat up. So I reached out to them again, let them know that I did get it. And I was super, super happy. They were super happy that I had it. And that's when they also started sending me things going forward, which was super cool. So yeah, this was a whirlwind to get. And when I finally had it, I was so happy that it did magically show up because I don't know what I would do without this. I think it's such a good one. It's really blown me away and I'm just super happy to have this one. And I feel like because of the journey it went through and the amount of love I have for it, it deserved the #1 spot. So yeah, that is my ranking my lethal palettes. I'm sure this was a little bit of a shorter video, but you know what? Not all the videos can be super long. I just filmed my very long palette declutter like 2 days ago, so I'm okay with a shorter video right now. I hope you liked it. I hope you found it interesting. I would love to hear your thoughts. I'm sure this ranking was painful to see unfold and see what was in the bottom, but trust me, it was just as painful for me to do because this was a really tough one. I adore Lethal Cosmetics. I don't think there's been a product I've tried that I dislike. I would love to hear what your favorite products are from Lethal. Have you tried them before? Do you have favorite palettes, blushes, highlighters, any of that good stuff? I'm loving their new brushes as well. They came out with these with that Metamorphosis and Evergreen palette. I literally can't stop using those brushes. They feel so soft and luxurious. But I would love to hear your thoughts on this video, the brand, all that good stuff. If you made it to the end of this video, think of your favorite Lethal Cosmetics palette and leave emojis that represent that palette. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It helps my channel out a lot. And if you're not already, you can follow me on my other socials. You can join the battybean fam. I am battybean on everything, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And if you want, you can subscribe if you want to see more of my videos. I'm posting every single day in December. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Okay, bye. Oh, this is gonna be a tough one. This is not gonna be easy. Look at my cute new spooky Christmas mug. Are you kidding me? I got it from Backstitch Bruja. This is me. Spooky soul loves Christmas.